This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
At 10 a.m., Jesse shows up in downtown Keene on a promise to attempt to start a garden.
Mishandling a rifle prior to a civil disobedience event.
This is my only line.
Posting violence-friendly messages on web forums.
Listen, I want nothing to do with free Keene anymore. I'm trying to get out of the state. I'm trying to leave.
Appearing to renounce the freedom movement while in custody. The more liberty activists there are in New Hampshire, the more controversial liberty activists there will be in New Hampshire. The kind you're not sure what to do with. The way things stand right now, activists that prove unreliable or blowhardy eventually end up on the fringes of the freedom movement. Sometimes they become outcasts altogether. They tend to leave the state and not come back. But the vetting process, if you want to call it that, takes time. There's a demand to make it faster. In theory, the solution is a no-brainer. We basically just need some sort of eBay-type reputation system. Something more organized and reliable than gossip or web forums. In New Hampshire liberty circles, what we wish for usually does come true, but only years after we wish it. This is a problem we've been thinking about, though, for years, so maybe now is the time to make it happen. I can't do it, and I can't be sure how it should work, but I can put forward some ideas for how it might work, and I can give it a hypothetical name, nhreputation.com, or NHR for short. As I brainstorm it, you could set up an NHR account and just add your own entry for any individual you want to rate. You could add someone because they were exceptionally reliable or effective, or you could add them because they're flaky or dangerous. As I brainstorm it, this would be more complex than just the one-dimensional eBay rating system. It would be more than just positive-negative. The inspiration here is actually a computer strategy game, XCOM UFO Defense, actually one of the finest games ever made. In that game, you hire soldiers who come to your army with certain strengths and weaknesses. Those are listed on the soldier's attributes screen. This guy here, for instance, has a high throwing accuracy. You can see that in the long brown line. But he has relatively low bravery. You can see that in the short gray line. My experience as a player was that I would tend to keep almost all the soldiers I hired. I wouldn't fire them unless they had an attribute that made them actively harmful to other soldiers. In that sense, this is analogous to our movement. This attributes screen in XCOM was useful for assigning specialties to each soldier. Obviously, this guy would be good for throwing things like flares and smoke canisters, but his low bravery rating means he's got a good chance of panicking, so I wouldn't give him grenades. Obviously, in the freedom movement, there's no leader, and there's no grenades, and there's no one to hand out assignments. But it still might be useful to have an attribute screen you could pull up on yourself or fellow activists. It could go much further than just being a good-bad type thing. Here's how I roughly envision the screen would look. While you're looking at it, I'll keep you entertained. Okay, probably you've been entertained enough now. The numbers here would mean exactly what they mean in school. 90 to 100 is an A, if that's the overall rating. You're kicking ass overall. 90 to 100 on, physical strengths means you're good, probably good for moving things. 75 is average, a C. 60 would be a D-. Anything below that is an F. There would be a comments section for people to get more subjective. maybe there should be more or different fields than what I've listed. Other fields might be social skills, quantity of service rendered to the movement, listening ability, following instructions, that sort of thing. Maybe there would be spots the activists themselves could fill in or leave blank. Location, age, background, favorite type of activism, that sort of thing. The advantages of a system like this? Well, it would create an incentive for activists to impress everybody.
Live free or die.
It would create a means of deterring bad behavior without the use of force, and it would do it more quickly. It would spread the news of bad behavior faster without necessarily being gossip. And though no one really gives orders or assignments right now, that may change in the New Hampshire Liberty Movement if serious money starts flowing into it. Then hiring will occur, and with it the power to assign. An attributes sheet like this might be helpful in that context. Another advantage, this system could be modified and used to rate government officials. Maybe it should be left so open-ended that it could be used to rate anyone. One downside is that people's ratings might be used as an intelligence tool by the government. The whole know your enemy thing. Another possible downside could be the government might use it as evidence against activists in court if they had low ratings on something. Just a brainstorm here, and maybe this is, maybe there's already a rating website out there that could be used for this purpose. I know there's ratemyteacher.com. Unfortunately, that model falls into a trap where it judges teachers to be better if they are easier. And again, it's just for teachers. I do see, however, they're already using a similar model to the XCOM model I mentioned earlier. RateMyCop.com is another one that's already online and fairly active. And the latest hot topic there is open carry. But there doesn't seem to be a way to use it outside of just cops. You can only rate cops there. So there's definitely no service out there that's quite like what I described in this clip. Maybe you can start one.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by FreeKeene.com. FreeKeene.com believes Keene is the best destination for pro-liberty activists like you. Keene is an exciting and challenging ground floor opportunity. Visit move.freekeene.com and read over 108 reasons to move to Keene. Help us free the beautiful little city of Keene from the clutches of the government. Learn why you should move to Keene at move.freekeene.com.
Gratuitas public domain parties.